Hey readers, welcome back to the club. I am one of your hosts, Katie Hoyt, and I'm here with my bestie, Miss Ashlyn Clark Gober. And I never say Gober.
Me either. It's so funny. Now that I share the name with my daughter, I need to start using it.
Right, so people will know the
Instagram.
right. It's only for like the closest circles.
Correct.
Okay, welcome back to the club. We just did a wrap-up episode where we talk all things Susanna, all
the queen.
things birth, all things postpartum. So
All things Katie's new house. You're leaving yourself out of that.
well,
If you want to hear what we've been up to the last month and a half,
Mhm.
you can tune into that episode. It's a little lengthy, but we didn't want to add it on to this long ass fucking book episode.
Right.
So we wanted to get that out of the way and just like really dive into all the fun shit we've been doing.
Yeah.
Thank y'all for being patient on this episode. I know we waited a couple extra days to not only record but then also publish.
Yeah.
So
It's okay.
yeah, we can dive right in if you're ready.
Yeah, absolutely. So we normally do like a little bit of a catch up, but we did all of that already. Go listen. We are starting. This book is Crescent City 1, and it is called House of
Earth and Blood.
Okay.
I'm looking at the title on the front of the actual book because I had no clue.
Okay. It's called A House of Earth and Blood. We normally forget to leave out the name of whatever book we're talking about, and that's just a little bit about us. Like,
Yeah, we'll do it in the middle of the episode. Like, oh, by the way, this is about this book. But it's in the title, so y'all should be in the right place already.
Yeah. 100%. So I think let's just go ahead and get started. So
cool. I can start with the author biography. No, we already did the author biography on the when was that? Oh my god.
The ACOTAR.
Okay. If you want to hear about Sarah J. Maas, go to the ACOTAR episode. We're not going to keep patching her out.
And I do think that we should say, or at least for myself, I'm going into this book with like the understanding that anyone who's listening to this episode has already read ACOTAR because we already covered all of those books.
Right.
I feel like, especially since we're doing like another Sarah J. Maas series, there's probably going to be some references back and forth. So go read ACOTAR if
you haven't. Just literally pause this where you're at, download ACOTAR on your Kindle app, and just start from there. Because what are you doing here if you haven't?
100%. Like, we have a hard enough time already not talking about Throne of Glass in literally every fucking episode of this podcast.
And I wanted to do it again on this one, but I'm going to try not to because it's so relevant, and I just don't have the time to reread, relive, and then talk about those on the podcast. So if you haven't read those, we highly, highly, highly recommend it. It's not necessarily like required reading for Crescent City at all, but recommend nonetheless. You can do it after. It's such a good series. Like you're not going to go wrong.
Yeah, 100%.
So I'll dive right in with the book synopsis. So this says, Bryce Quinlan had the perfect life, working hard all day and partying all night, until a demon murdered her closest friends, leaving her bereft, wounded, and alone. When the accused is behind bars, but the crimes start up again, Bryce finds herself at the heart of the investigation. She'll do whatever it takes to avenge their deaths. Hunt Athalar is a notorious fallen angel, now enslaved to the archangels he once attempted to overthrow. His brutal skills and incredible strength have been set to one purpose: to assassinate his boss's enemies, no questions asked. But with the demon wreaking havoc in the city, he's offered an irresistible deal. Help Bryce find the murderer and his freedom will be in reach. As Bryce and Hunt dig deep into Crescent City's underbelly, they discover a dark power that threatens everything and everyone they hold dear, and they find in each other a blazing passion, one that could set them both free if they'd only let it.
Okay. Thank God I did not read this before I read this book the first time, because I had truly an out-of-body experience when Danica dies.
Yeah.
If I would have known that the best friend died going in, I would have been so fucking mad. Like,
yeah. But also, wouldn't you have just rather, like, I spent so long wondering when they were just going to, like, reappear?
No, literally.
But you have, like, kind of wish you knew, like, okay, the best friend is actually dead.
Maybe.
Like, this is not like a Cassie and Reese Farah thing here. This is like, they're dead,
She's
dead.
dead. Yeah,
Yeah.
and there's no coming back. This is the only time at this part in the book that I have ever asked for a spoiler. This is when I texted you and Kate in the group, and I said, "Just tell me if Danica and the pack are, like, actually dead." And
Did I
you were like,
tell you?
"No, bitch." You were like,
And
"No?"
that's on no spoils.
Question mark, like, keep reading.
Yeah.
Um, no, truly, like, I had an out of body experience at that point in time, but, like,
And it's like chapter 6. It's not halfway through the book, a quarter of the way, like,
right.
you hit the ground running. You're so curious about these people, and then they
Mhm.
just, like, turn up dead.
100%, and, like, I don't think I would change that experience for myself, like, I'm reading these books to feel
Feel something, yeah.
heightened emotions like
True.
that, so, anyway, about the synopsis, I don't think that she nailed it on this one. I'm pissed about that, and, yeah, I
Also,
just
this is like the whole plot. There's almost nothing left to the imagination. There's obviously it's not like this is who did it, but
right.
still, like, just reminds me why I don't read these before I actually get a book.
Exactly, like, to me, even mentioning Hunt's name along with Bryce is too much, like, I don't wanna know that I mean, you find out pretty quickly into the book, but, like, I don't wanna know
I
that.
don't wanna know anything. I wanna be so surprised. So, I think we made the correct decision on not reading those.
100%.
Which I have found that, like, even when I go to Barnes& and Noble, I just have to go off the cover, and, like, if I've seen it on TikTok, I
Yeah,
hate reading those things in the, um, like, little bindings or whatever.
yes.
Oh, I wanted to ask you, did you see the, like, options for the surprise chapters at the end of Crescent City 3?
Yeah,
Like,
there's a lot.
indie versus Walmart versus Target.
Mhm,
Okay, so let me just say, I got mine from an indie bookstore, support local business.
mhm.
But my friend Caitlin Pacenza, she got one from Walmart and from Target because well, she or some I don't know, somewhere. She got 2, so she's gonna have more to send us. So we will have access. And is Kindle a separate one? Or is
Girl,
Kindle even
I
included?
don't know, I'm just banking on the psychopaths
Posting.
putting it on the internet for all of us to find within, 5 minutes of receiving the book, so I feel good about that too, like, I really feel like we'll be able to find them pretty quickly.
Psychotic for having all the options, but I'm not gonna discuss who they are because I don't wanna give any spoilers.
Right,
But,
right.
um, so that's a tangent. Okay, do you wanna talk about the characters?
I do wanna talk about the characters.
Okay, starting off strong, you can go ahead and discuss I'm gonna give you the leading part on Bryce and Hunt because I feel like you have more to say than me.
Okay, um,
So, you can start with Bryce.
okay, Bryce is like a girl's girl, and love that about her, like, most fantasy characters and this probably only has to do with the fact that, like, it is set in, like, "modern day," quote, unquote.
That's true, yeah, I like that element of it.
Yes, I would, like, actually wanna hang out with her in person, like, people say all the time, like, "Oh, I wanna hang out with Aylin or whoever," and, like, sure, but, like, we're not living in the same world, but, like, we're living in the same world as Bryce, you know?
I wanna go to the club with Bryce,
100%.
pre-sobriety.
Yeah, yeah, and pre when it got exploded.
Right.
But I do love that about her, and I feel so bad for her that her reputation is just, like, party girl,
Yeah. No,
whore.
I understand that, like, she went through and a lot of people went through, like, loss with
Mhm.
the people that died, but she got fucked by
Yeah.
that because not only did, like, everyone she loved die,
Mhm.
then they released all this shit about her in the press that, like, made her look like
Ugh.
a total psychopath, like,
Mhm.
just, party girl, whatever, and
Yeah.
then they're like, "Oh, and now that we've treated you like shit and looked down upon you and done all this shit to you, and you're still, like, in mourning, solve the murder case.
Right. Like, jump back in
Go
2
right back
feet.
into it, like, if you've done any, emotional healing, like, let's reverse all of that for you.
100%.
Let's go ahead and, like,
Yeah.
have you dig up this past trauma,
Yes.
and also you can't go to the sailing."
Oh my god. No, that broke me, like but also one thing about this book that I did not remember, again, we'll say it a million times. Ashley and I have read these books,
This is
so
our second run. They're not
yes,
we haven't read them, like, 6 times or anything, it's just our second
yeah.
time.
I did not remember that you skip ahead 22 months, which I personally feel grateful for because I like the fact that Bryce is older in, like, the actual
Yeah, I agree.
story.
Mhm. And we don't have to go through so much, like, mundane stuff with
Yes.
her because, I mean, it's not gonna be, like, a fun time
Yeah,
listening to her heal from this.
exactly, like, you kinda get to miss out on the actual grieving and just hear about it, like,
Yeah.
afterward. Anyway, I just felt bad for her, but, like, it's crazy. She's just been, like, bebopping around town, doing her thing as Starborn, and, like
She wasn't gonna bring that up.
right, like, they really
I actually forgot about that, like,
no, same.
totally forgot, and I agree with you, like, she's definitely a girl's girl. She seems like she's a good time, and she's, like, fucking funny as shit. Like, I
Yes.
think she's hilarious. Uh, but you forget, I guess this is on purpose, like, how with it she is. She's
Mhm.
very aware of everything going on. She
Yeah.
figured out about the horn on her own before it even came about.
Yeah.
She's been hiding the Starborn thing. She is such, like, a fierce protector of everyone around her for no reason.
Yes.
Like
Yes.
she's a better person than me. I would not be able to, like, shoulder the burden of all these people.
Totally, but one thing about Bryce that, like, makes her different is the fact that she's that way, but she's not like how every other female main character is, like, running out and just inserting herself in places where she doesn't belong. Like, she sits back. If something happens, then sure, she'll take care of it, but she's really not out there just like, "I'm the Starborn, and I'm gonna take care of, and I have to protect every single solitary person." Like, she kind of does stay to
She does it
herself.
under the table. She
Yes.
bought Syrinx's freedom,
Yes.
she bought Lahaba's freedom.
Yes.
She did exactly what you're saying during the, like, bombing of the
True,
city.
true, true. She did it at that point, but up
But she had
until
no choice.
then yeah, up until then, she, like, didn't give a fuck about the Starborn thing. She's not like, "Oh, I could
Need to
lower
be the
her."
world's savior. Yeah, she's really not like
100%.
that until, like, she has no other choice.
Yeah.
But, yeah, very, very interesting female main character. I have a little bit of beef with the fact that she decides that she needs to show up to her day job in, like, fucking heels and tight dresses and, like, dress like, I am if you know me, you know I'm all about dressing like a slut. Like, that is one thing as long as I look good, I'm gonna do that.
Mhm.
Wait till I get my postpartum body out the way. But every day, waking up and taking an hour to shower, fix your hair, do your makeup,
Mhm.
wearing heels, and then, like, for half the book, she has this, like, thigh cramp, and I'm like, "Why are you
Yes.
click-clacking around the city whenever you could just, wear normal business clothes?"
That and it's like it's not like the gallery is, like, open to everyone all day, every day,
Right.
like
She knows if she has an appointment or not.
yes, exactly. That was one thing I forgot the first time I read this book, I hated that, like,
I hate it. I
it's
still
like
hate it.
it's a vibe. It's not my vibe. Um,
It's kinda chug. Like,
agree.
she's like, "Oh, she towed off her white stilettos." Like, gag. Like,
The
why are you wearing that?
right, and it's like she walks to work, it's not like she
Yeah, with earrings, like, I
it's a
don't
little
know.
it's a little pick me a little bit,
It
like
is, yeah. There's a lot of stuff about and I'll talk about this probably multiple times, so sorry in advance, but there's a lot of stuff that's really fucking corny about this
agree.
book series that's, like, way out of character for Sarah J. It
Yeah.
feels like to me because I read, every single other book she's ever published.
Right.
So, for it to be this corny
Mhm.
out the gate is kind of crazy, but again, like, I think she's a good female main
I do
character.
too. I think that having it be so modern that you just lend yourself to, like, being corny a little bit, like,
Yeah, that's
I
true.
don't necessarily know how you make, like, a quick-witted modern day girl who's not a little cringe, like, with the things that she does and says.
Yeah.
Obviously, this book and anything Sarah J. Maas writes is like far and away superior to
Everything else.
everything else. It's just like we're comparing this to ACOTAR and to Throne of Glass, and it's like you can't write it. You just can't write it better than that. I'm sorry. Like so, yeah, I agree. Like Bryce is so smart. I forgot the whole ending, the shit with Micah. I forgot that that's her ordeal.
Me too. Okay, and what does that really mean?
I don't know. I think it's just like almost like a midlife crisis,
That's what it seems like.
but it's just like
And
an
but
event.
it was just weird that like Rune and Declan and Tristan were all like, "This is her ordeal." Like they fucking saw it and knew, and I'm like, "How did we know that?"
Yeah. It's like it's not like there's a textbook and it's like Bryce Quinlan ordeal is
Ordeal.
going to be like you kind of have to like guess that that's what this was. I thought it was crazy. Like I we don't know what anybody else's ordeal was, but I can only imagine that Bryce's was like a bit more intense than
No
everyone
shit.
else's.
Like you're pitting a half human girl who's never even like used really her starborn powers against the head honcho archangel.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's wild for
Um,
sure.
I don't have much else to say about Bryce except for she deserves better than Hunt. We can go ahead and move on to Hunt if you don't have anything else to
Oh, I
say.
did want to add, I cannot fucking stand how often her toes curl. Isn't she wearing like pointed toe stilettos? Like, goddamn, how are they curling in there?
Such a good
We should probably size down.
Have you seen the TikToks? And it's like the girl will do like things that they see in quotes, like he gave a tight smile, and like she's like, yeah. I will literally with like the toes curling. I'm like picturing that, and I'm like, mine
Mine
aren't
don't do
moving.
that. Also, it almost seems, which like I understand a lot of stuff in fantasy is like the growls and the hisses. Like to me, those are like almost imaginary. Like
Yeah,
they're more like an idea.
yeah.
Same thing with toes curling originally, but it happened so frequently that I was like, I thought this was only to be used sparingly, like as an idea of like how someone's
100%.
feeling. But your toes are curling like every other chapter.
Anytime
So
Hunt
it,
breathes,
right.
her toes are curling. I'm with you. Like with the growls, I like to imagine that that's like internal for the male main character
Yes, I do the same thing.
when he growls because no, we didn't.
Not my man. He sure didn't. Speaking of my man, let's go on to Hunt. I'm gonna let you go ahead and do your thing because this is Katie's cross to bear.
Okay, okay. I really like, just to put it plainly, I don't fucking like Hunt at all. Like, that's putting it mildly. I wrote like a dissertation on
You can't see my phone, but like literally half of a fucking Google Doc page on Hunt.
um first thing
Half of it is all caps, but keep going.
and exclamation points. Um we'll start with the helmet from his uniform that he wears. Ooh, it gives me the ick so bad. Like, aren't you a big strong man? Like, what do you need a helmet for? Aren't you the biggest and the baddest? Like, why do you need a helmet? It has a windshield on it. Like, I'm sorry.
So the windshield doesn't exist in my head. I don't really get the helmet either.
It's like, especially because it didn't like come into play.
He only wore it whenever he was doing Micah's like dirty work.
Yeah, and it's giving me the ick. Like, you don't need to wear a helmet. Second thing, what he's the most fucking boring character in the entire book. Like, the man does not have one friend. He doesn't really have hobbies except for he likes to watch Sunball. I get he's a slave, but like, oh my god, you can have a personality. You can go hang out with your friends. You can be funny, but like, he's not funny. He's not quick witted. He's not like daddy.
No, I agree with that. Um, he is a little lackluster on like the male main
Mhm,
character side, and again, not Sarah J's like typical
mhm.
MO. Like she wants to me, She makes him how I like him usually.
100%.
This one I agree, like, boring, snooze fest.
Mhm.
Why is he not, like, more fun? He's not, like, funny, he's
Yeah.
not I don't know, it's weird. But again, like you said, like, I'm thinking, like, slave guy is very starts off very weary of Bryce, very weary of everyone in
Mhm.
general because all he cares about is focusing on, like, getting
Yeah.
free and having a normal life, and I don't know if even whenever he was free before, his life was normal because he was with Sandriel or the other one?
Oh, Shahar, is that
Shahar,
right?
that's right.
Okay.
He was with her, and it seems like there was some power dynamic that was off.
Mhm.
I don't know that he has, like, a normal life originally to
Yeah.
get back to. I think he has to figure
Yeah.
out what the fuck's going on.
I agree, like, I just think that he's not bringing anything to the table for me, like, I'm not like, "Oh my god," and I felt like this the first time around, now the second time, I obviously knew that I hated his ass from day dot, so I was planning to hate him the whole time, but he's just boring, like, I feel like maybe she set it up because, like, Bryce, like, shines so brightly, and he doesn't need to get in the way of that, but, like, he's really not in the way at all, like
No, 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 he's not in the way, but I do think, like, we deserve more, I think.
I agree. So yeah, when he lies to Bryce, this is my thing. Bryce already knew that Danica was involved. He wasn't like protecting her from anything, like she already knew. And it was relevant to the case, like the synth of it all. And he tried to like protect her from that because like he didn't want her to think like, oh, Danica is this bad person. But, like he was fucking wrong about it to begin with. So like he's protecting her, but he was wrong.
Yeah, but when she found out, like, he was protecting her from finding out, and she still found out, and no one knew that they were wrong. Like, she still had those
Yes.
emotions. So
Yes.
I think, like, to me, that part is, like, a little bit forgivable
No.
because it again, like, he has been enslaved for 200 years.
Yeah, no, like, I get that, but he was 10 kills away. Now, granted, it comes back around, like, Michael was never gonna free him from their bargain, whatever it is, but, like, I feel like he was so close, it wasn't worth it at that point in time for him to do that to Bryce, like, especially because he was aware of the way that he felt about her, and I know that he tried to stop it or whatever. Okay, then you don't show up. Like, if you are trying to stop this, let them bury themselves if what's the other one? Justinian and
Victoria.
Victoria, let them bury themselves. Just tell Bryce. Like, honestly, I think that's the best thing. Bryce is a big girl. Like, she's been through some shit, yeah, but like you have been picking at this scab. You've been ripping this scab off
Yeah.
for months. She's a big girl. She can handle it. I fucking hate him. Like, I just think it's unforgivable when she goes back and she's like, I'm gonna do this one last thing for him. Why? Like, literally, why? Why would you go and sell yourself into slavery if that's what it was gonna take? The money is one thing, but the willingness to sell herself in his
That's
place?
the thing that I have with her. Like, what is the like,
What's the self sabotage? Like, what's that about? So you go into it and she's like, this will be the last thing I do for him. Like, once he's free, fuck him. I don't care what he does. But you were gonna go sell yourself? Like,
that is the point at which I decided if she forgives Hunt enough,
yes,
she sees
yes.
a light. She's like, I honestly like forgive him pretty
Yeah.
much. At that point, I'm like, none of my business. Like, whatever. If she can see why he did these things, then maybe there's like a
Mm,
reason. I
no,
don't
it's my business.
know.
And when Hunt, like, he finds out then that she's the Autumn King's daughter, and then, like, at the summit, she's going through some shit. They're, like, washing it, and he's like, she lied about being the Autumn King's daughter. Like, she had some secrets of her own. Like, fuck off. Literally, fuck off. Like, you did something so despicable and so unforgivable. And she was like protecting herself. Also, another thing is, so they've been doing this. I don't even know how long it was, 6 months maybe that they were.
Yeah, something like that.
Never one time he wasn't like, I wonder who her dad is.
No,
He
he did. He did because, well, she framed it as, "I don't really know who he is."
I'm saying he didn't say, like, "What's his name?" or, like, "Would I know him?" or anything, like, I felt like he didn't push her enough.
Yeah, but, like, you remember whenever she brought it up at first, she was like, "He left, my mom, but whenever I was
Yeah.
young, and, like, I don't associate with him." Like,
Mhm.
she was kinda giving off the vibes like she doesn't really know who he is or where he is.
That okay, that's true, that's a good point. Still, I just I fucking hate him, like, then he gets mad at Therian for
Taking
bringing
her to the thing that's
motherfucker,
stupid.
like,
That's stupid.
it's like,
He has a
no,
lot of stuff to work out.
I don't forgive him. At the end, when the sumbitch had no arms, no legs, I was like, "Okay." Like,
And and
and okay, like, leave him there to die. We're on to the next big thing, like, so I saw something that said because his name is, like, Orion, and I don't know anything about Greek mythology, but on this TikTok, the girl said that Orion was killed by his lover, and I'm desperately hoping that Hunt is based off of Orion, like, I hope that Bryce kills him, and he's no longer, like, part of the story, like, I could not be more serious, I don't want him to be the male main character. Don't know who I want it to be, certainly not him, like,
okay, interesting.
I like to believe that Connor would have been a better match for her, and that's just the facts. I'm hoping we get a Tamlin situation.
Oh my god, that's so funny. Oh, wait. You said Connor. Can we please just talk about Connor and Danica, like, just have
Yeah.
a little
Yeah.
section for them?
Yeah.
The way I still hold a candle for this man that we had one scene with.
No,
He was perfect.
no, literally.
He was perfect.
And, like, just the way that he was so sweet, but it was still, like, masculine, like, "I'm into you, let me take you out."
It was not golden retriever-y, but he still obviously she knew that he had been in love with her for, like, what, years?
Yeah, since
And
college.
he's like, "Okay, like, it's time to do this. Like, I'm
Mhm.
over whatever you have going on in the bathroom with these guys at the bar. Like, it's time to be together."
I completely agree. The way I like Connor as the male main character more based off of one chapter that we got from him. I I feel more for Connor than I did for what's his name? Hunt. Maybe it's based off the fact that, like, we didn't get to see any, like, flaws from Connor.
No, they had no time to be annoying.
Right.
All the other characters had ample.
800
But
pages.
then at the end, he's like, "I'm still gonna put my life on the line for her against the Underking to, like, give her this time to do
Mhm.
the drop with Danica." I have no notes for
Yeah.
Connor except for, "I miss you, come back. Come
Yes.
home."
Oh my god, yes, like, that's my king right there.
That's my MMC.
Completely. I'm so glad we're on the same page.
I was in love with him the whole time, and I was wondering if it was like what you're saying, like, just we just wish we knew what it was gonna be.
Mhm.
Like, you just what's the word? Not like we're always just, like, wondering what if. Like, what if
Yeah,
Connor was still alive? Like,
yeah,
then what?
yeah,
They would be perfect together, but
yeah.
she was so weird. This is one thing that I don't like about Bryce. I know we're not talking about her anymore, but, like, she was so weird about people being assertive. She's like, "I don't do possessive and aggressive." She would always say
Oh,
that.
yeah.
"I don't do possessive and aggressive.
Mhm.
Quit the alpha hole." She like, bleh, like,
Yeah.
stop. First of all, stop saying that.
Alcohol.
Disgusting.
Mhm.
And then why don't you do possessive and aggressive? Because
See, that's how you get daddy.
exactly. Connor was giving it to us,
Mhm.
and but he's also still, like, a nice
Right.
person.
Hunt just gives asshole to me, alpha hole to me, but not really, like, here's the thing, I like a strong female main character. She gotta have a mans, like, she got to have, like, the masculine not, like, has a rein on her, but, like, someone who can ground her, and I just feel like Hunt like, it's just Bryce against the world, and Hunt's there too.
Really, because I feel like at the end, there was, like, definitely some simpatico stuff happening with them. I feel like their relationship kind of I don't know. At the end, the last scene where they're, like he, like, brings her back to life. She saves his life, and then he
Yeah.
saves hers. I'm like, "Okay."
Here's the thing. You can say literally anything in the world. You can
It's never gonna
lit
go back to Katie, en endorsing Hunt in any way.
you can bring up the best point in the world. I will not be changing my mind. Sorry. I really hope that he dies, like, for real. I can't be bothered. Bryce deserves better. Like, to me, I want I don't want her with Therian because that's not a match, but, like, I'm obsessed with him. He just has something about him.
He does. Let's talk about wait, we didn't talk about Danica. We'll talk about Therian real quick.
Okay.
Therian's daddy.
Yeah, no, Therian's
And
dad.
usually they don't have, like, minus Lucian, like, redheaded characters don't usually
Do it for
they don't
you.
usually charm me, but this
Mhm.
guy has charmed me.
I completely agree. I don't love that he has, like, tiger stripes.
No, I love that.
Okay.
Because I wasn't imagining, like, a real tiger. Have you seen his fan art?
Oh, yeah.
They're, like, more fishy looking stripes. They're not, like,
Okay, I
super
haven't seen those.
tiger.
You'll have to send me the
Okay,
ones that you've
okay.
seen.
They look normal. They don't
I
look
love
like,
him.
auburn tiger.
Okay. Oh my god. Especially because he has, like, the red hair.
Okay, yeah, it's a lot.
Um, I love him. I want so much more of him. This is what I wanna know. At the end, at the summit, and, like, Hypaxia is, like, making eye contact with him, and he's, like, making tally marks of something, like, he's counting
What
something.
were they doing?
They never said
But
it?
those 2 were kikiing. They really he is a girl's girl. He's like, "You know what, Bryce? If you wanna come over and figure out who is behind all this, let's just take my wave runner up to the big scary
Yeah.
boat."
You know who he's giving? Helion.
Oh, yes, that is a perfect comparison.
I love
He is
him.
giving Helion, and he for that reason, he slays. Like, I love everything about Therian that we find out in this book, but I need way more.
Yeah, no,
Way, way, way
same,
more of him.
same. I need him to be, like, big player in book number
Yeah,
2.
because we didn't even get, like, a singular POV chapter.
Mm-mm.
We didn't really have a lot of points of view in this
Yeah,
first book. I feel like in the second book there's more,
yes,
but this one was just Bryce and Hunt, and maybe Isaiah.
and Prune. Okay, who's next? We've got do you wanna talk about Danica? I know we did, like, a little bit of a
Yes, I don't have a ton to say about her, so this is a good point to, like, throw it in, but I feel like we know her really well,
No, same.
even though, I mean, she's not even alive for most of the
Mhm.
book, but their friendship is too much for me. Like, the way I sobbed during the drop.
No, I wasn't okay, like, the fact that she gives up the last morsel of her
Soul.
essence for Bryce to make the ascent, like,
Okay.
it was too fucking much, and, like, Danica was so smart, like, everything that she did, like, putting the tattoo on Bryce, I love her, like, I actually hate that she's dead,
No, because she would have brought so much more to the story,
Yeah.
which, I mean, I guess figuring out what's going on with her is the story. So
Right.
really she's the FMC.
She totally is.
But I really liked trying to figure out what the fuck she was doing because Bryce thought she knew everything about her, and then it turns out, like,
She
she
didn't.
knew nothing.
She didn't. Okay, one thing about Danica that is not her fault, but is so cringe, like, this is a Sarah J. Maas thing.
The
Her
hair?
her no, I love the hair.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, I didn't at first. Actually, the first time I read this book, I did not like Danica at the beginning, like scene 1, I didn't like her.
Oh, okay.
I don't know why, I think because I don't fucking like the name Danica.
That could be it. That could definitely
But
be it.
her last name, I've been pronouncing it Findir, but I think
Oh,
it's
it's Fender.
Fender. Um, the fact that her, like, login is, like, Defender, like, Defender,
Yeah, it's a lot.
gag. I I hated
It's
that
like if
when
your login was K Hoyt, no one would say shit.
Right.
But, like, the fact that it spells out a real word
Don't,
kinda.
like Yeah, don't I hated that, but that's, like, the only thing. That's not Danica's fault. That's, like, Sarah J. Maas. Why did she
Oh, because she's cringe as fuck. This whole book, just, like, cringe level is way up for
Mm.
some reason, but
Yeah.
Yeah, I love Danica. That's funny that you like her hair. I'm not into the hair. The leather jacket was cute. I liked the leather jacket that Bryce always wore.
Yes, I just like Danica's fan art, like, I feel like you because no fantasy is set, like, modern day, so they don't just, like, have colorful streaks in their
Oh,
hair.
yeah, it does make it kinda different.
Danica's fan art is, like, so slay, like, she's hot as
Oh,
fuck
yeah.
in all of I mean, everyone is, but she's, like
She's, like, badass.
yeah,
I love it.
yeah.
I also think it's really cool that she was in charge of a wolf pack. I know that we don't really get to see any of the other wolf packs
Mhm.
that much, but, like, it's just sick as fuck that she
Yeah.
was, like, literally in charge of a whole section of the city. Like,
Yes.
she's, like, the first line of defense.
And the fact that she's, like, so much better than everybody else.
Their whole pack was better. She was going to usurp her disgusting ass mother, and it was
Mm.
gonna be a beautiful scene.
Yeah, I hate that we didn't get to see that play out,
Me
but
too.
yeah, she's my queen, my everything, and, like, I really have no notes except for Defender.
Me either.
That's the only thing. Okay, so let's move on. We'll talk about Rune next.
Mm. This man, I know we just said Therian. The way every other man in this book deserves to be the main character.
Mhm.
And Rune, wow. Um, question, what the fuck is with the half-shaved head?
No, here's the thing. I could do half-shaved head if the other half was not to his fucking waist, because I have a hard time imagining movement, like, when he walks.
Where does the half end? Like, because you know how people used to shave, like,
Yes.
right behind their ear?
Where does the half end? Where does the half end?
There's people who used to shave, like, right here, right behind their ear. I'm fine with that. But do you remember, like, the guy from Pocahontas that
Mhm.
has literally half?
Yeah.
That's what I'm imagining, and I don't it's not really my favorite look.
Yeah, I think it's more like a side part,
Okay.
which makes it harder for me to imagine the movement. Like, if this long hair that's in the back of his head, is it not falling over to the other side? Like, that's what's getting me with the half-shaved head. I can do half-shaved, but the hair to the waist is getting me every time.
Just butt cut down the back, and then it's just, like, literally to his leg. I'm so confused.
Yeah, that's really Rune's, like, one and only flaw. I can get with, like, the piercings and the tattoos, like, all that's great, but the hair, it throws me. There is this, like, one fan art, though, that, like, I fantasize
With the
about.
double birds.
No, but
I
that's
love
good.
that one because, I'm reading Crescent City 2, and I just got to the scene where he's doing that, and I was like, "Oh my god," like, I can picture it so vividly. I've
Yes.
only looked at it 100 times.
Right, right. It's, like, saved as my phone background. I
Yeah,
mean
yeah. No, he is I love the lip ring. I love that he's like a party boy.
Mhm.
Him and Bryce are so similar
Yeah.
that it's crazy. I love that they like are both very much against everything that their father stands for and openly. They
Yes.
don't fuck around trying to cut corners and lie to him. They are just like, nope, we disagree.
Yes, and I was very happy to see their relationship healed
Thank
at the
God.
end.
I think that she went into it a little bit, but I need a play by play, word for word of every single thing that was said and done.
And during the argument?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. Like, give us the background, like,
Yeah.
what happened?
Tell us every single thing.
But also, like, wasn't Bryce, like, 13?
Yeah, but it
So
was probably her fault.
no,
I mean, that guy
100%.
was what, 27? Like,
Yeah, yeah, I need to know exactly what happened. I'm very glad. Now, at the end, when Bryce, like, calls Hunt and she's, like, saying her goodbyes to everybody, like, she thinks she's about to die, her thing to Rune was, like, gutted me when she says, like, "He was always the better of us." No, I was not okay. Like, I am obsessed with them. I personally believe now, this can't really happen, but, like, Rune is the male main character, like, in my eyes.
mhm.
He's not, like, with Bryce, but, like, I'm kind of, like, happy to forego Hunt and
Just focus on whatever Rune is
yeah,
doing.
yeah, yeah, I love that, like, he's not as main character as Bryce, but I do like that we're getting, like, his story at the exact same time, like, he has his
Yeah.
own POV through things because, like, since we're not getting Hunt or we're not getting anything quality from Hunt.
I agree. I feel like it adds a good, interesting perspective because him and Bryce are almost never together in the
Mhm.
book. So it was cool to see like what they were doing simultaneously.
Yes, and how it all, like, came together.
Yeah. And again, he's like in the Aux. So he is very badass, very trained. Him
Mhm.
and his little posse are always like on some shit.
Love.
And we don't have Declan and Flynn, well, Tristan, they always
Yeah.
go back and forth, but
Yeah.
we don't have them as characters that we're gonna talk about, but the way I am such a Declan stan,
No, like, I love him.
I know, and my sister read this book and she was like, "I don't really see like, why do you keep talking about Declan? Like, he has two parts in the book." And I'm like, "Yeah, and one of those parts was fucking saving Bryce's life pretty much."
Yes.
So or, like, broadcasting everything that was happening.
He's like a tech
He's
wizard.
genius, and he's a gay king.
Yeah,
How am I
100%.
supposed to sit back and let that just pass me
Right,
by?
no, you can't. I'm obsessed. Like, I love their little trio, their dynamic, like, the being best
I
friends.
know. The living in the frat house?
Oh my god, the way that, like, they live in this nice ass house and it's, like, trashed, like,
Trashed. Oh my
what do they
god.
say? Like, it probably won't make it another 2 years. That's crazy. No, I'm obsessed, like, with their whole posse. It does, like, make me a little sad for Ruin that he can, like, barely summon, like, a spark of the Starborn.
Yeah, but he has shadows and he has the mind speak.
Yes.
So I feel like he makes up for it in other ways. He's still very powerful.
100%. It's just, like, I have
The
my
part that kinda
sympathy.
matters for
Yeah.
him or to him and his
Yeah,
dad.
that broke me too when, like, he finds out that Bryce, like, didn't tell anybody because she saw how important it was to him.
Again, like, Bryce, babe, it's okay to be cool and to have something for your fucking self. Y It's okay.
Mhm.
You don't have to be so self-sacrificial at all times.
Yeah, I mean, secret's out now. I fucking love that they can share the sword now, like,
Oh, yeah.
it's both of their sword. Love that.
Um, the thing with Rune, though, that I'm confused about is I feel like he still lets his dad kinda control him a little bit, and I can't fully grasp why that is.
Yeah.
He always, like, has some sort of, like, say over him and
Yeah.
Bryce, even though he's never, like, pulled rank on Bryce,
Yeah.
but, like, what does their dad bring to the table that they have to, like, heed his every
That's such a good
recommendation or
point. Like,
every whatever?
it's like, I don't know, maybe it's just, like, a political thing that if Rune were to, like, disobey him, that I don't know, but that's a good point. Like, I feel like
I gotta figure out more about this Autumn King, like, I know he sucks, that's all I know. I
Mhm.
don't know why, I don't know to what end does his opinion matter,
Yeah.
and the Fae versus the Veneer versus, like, the fucking whatever other houses there are, the
Yeah.
vampires and shit. Other than politics, what is the point?
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I think that the entire, like, political makeup is so confusing and
And that was so hard to understand the first time we read the book
Mhm.
because she just throws you out into it. She's, like, saying all this shit like Veneer, Triari, like,
Yes.
Archangel, like, all this shit, and then, like, this house, and this house, and this house.
Uh-huh.
It took me forever to get through that mentally
Yes.
the first time I read it. This time, I was letting it ride, like, just literally fly out of my brain as soon as I would go in one eye and out the other, like, I'm
Yes.
like, "Who even is she talking about?" Because I knew it wasn't gonna change one thing about the
It
book.
doesn't mean anything.
No,
That's the
it
thing,
has
like,
no bearings.
where is this gonna come into play? Because I'm still waiting to
Hopefully, at some
understand
fucking point because
what's the significance of the houses. Like, it doesn't, like, mean anything if you're in a house except for, like, I guess technically the political figures, like, over you,
you, like, serve them.
but, like it kinda just feels like everybody's still doing whatever the hell they wanna
Yeah,
do,
that's what it feels like, for sure.
so unless you're, like, involved in some shit.
Yeah, like, it makes sense for Hunt because he answers to blah, 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 and then
Right.
I guess Rune answers to the Autumn King,
Yeah.
Varian answers to the River Queen.
Mhm.
But people who are not involved in politics, who are just, like, college students, like, does their house matter?
Yeah, like yeah.
What if they did houses at the college like Hogwarts? Like, they, like, have sunball games, like,
Yes.
"This is House of Many Waters team, this is House of, Flesh and Blood," or whatever. What is it called? That would be slay.
Um, Rune. Love.
Is that where we were? Okay, um, Love, I think I said all I need to say about him.
Yeah.
I would like more. I want a Rune book, like, just a Rune book,
No,
because I
100%.
need to figure out who's gonna be his female main character, who's he
Oh,
gonna fall in love with.
they're setting you up for Hypaxia, but she really
So, I'm just not really getting the vibes that that's gonna be a thing.
no. No.
Something about Hypaxia seems, no offense, a little too good for Rune.
I agree.
That woman has something on everybody. Like, she knows things that we don't know.
Mhm.
She's just aware. Her
Yes.
presence as literally the brand new fresh queen of the witches at the summit,
Mhm.
and her just, like, literally staring down Sandriel.
Oh my god.
She Whatever she was doing with Therion was hilarious. And
Yes.
then she just took off Hunt's halo like it was, like, for fun.
Yeah. She's like, "Okay, somebody's gotta do something, so it might as well be me," and, like, she is fresh, like, she has been the queen for 30
2
seconds.
seconds, yeah.
Like, she don't give a fuck, like, she is with the shit. Whatever she knows is everything, like, everybody needs to know what she knows. She is the best, and I love her. I'm praying that we get, like, so much more of her.
And she was cool even as the Medwitch. She was very
Yes.
interesting, and the parts with Rune and her at the Medwitch thing, he was, like, very impressed by how smart she was and everything,
Yes.
so obviously it all made sense that she's this really powerful,
Yeah.
really educated witch, but
Yeah.
I am just interested to see where she's gonna go because she feels like she has beef with the Asteri to me,
100%.
and so, Imma need her to, like, keep that energy and remain powerful because at the end, whenever they, like, warn Bryce and Hunt, like, about everything
Mhm.
and take off his slave stuff, they're kinda like, "If you ever utter a word, like, you're dead, and so is
Yes.
everyone that you love." Things don't feel I don't have closure from the Asteri, so I
Mhm.
need her to remain on our side of
I
this.
agree, and it feels like because, like, sure, they know each other, everybody like, Hypaxia knows everybody, but she is doing this based off of, like, some other knowledge that she has procured prior to these events, like, she's got I don't know, I'm so happy to have her on our team. She's so smart, the fact that she gave Bryce the antidote.
I totally fucking forgot about that, and I was like,
Same.
how does Bryce survive this?"
Same,
'Cause I was like, I know
same.
we're not gonna pull some shit like, "Oh, Bryce is just the best of the best, and she doesn't
Her
react to
power
this."
was absorbed it because she's so powerful.
Like, this is so lame, and then I was like, "Oh my god, the fucking antidote." Like,
Yes.
oh,
Yes.
the name Hypaxia though,
Mm,
tough, very tough.
I agree. What does hypoxia mean? Because
Hypo Oh, I went to school for 4 years to tell you this one fact. So, hypoxia is whenever you have too low of oxygen in your body. Actually, in your lungs. Hypoxemia is whenever you have it too low in your bloodstream.
okay, every time I would type hypoxia in my notes app, it surely autocorrected to hypoxia, and I'm trying to, like, make some kind of connection between why her name would be that based off of the word, but I can't.
No, this is Sarah J. Maas doing the fantasy shit that she does and not thinking about context.
Not
I assume that, like, no reason that anyone should be hypoxic in this unless you, like, get dragged under the water.
somebody could, yes, you know?
Not her. Not the queen of witches.
Mm-mm. No, so, yeah, we'll see, what happens, but she is a literal queen, like, queen of the witches. Okay, speaking of witches, let's move on to do you say Jessica?
You know, I think I go back and forth. I think when I first read it, I said, like, Jasiba,
That's what I said too.
and then now I'm, like, just too lazy, so I'll go with either one, Jasiba or Jessiba. I think
Okay.
they're both.
I was always saying Jasiba, and now I kind of feel like it's Jessiba. That's not based off of anything besides probably the fact that I've said it in my head too many
Yeah.
times.
Saying Jasiba out loud sounds kinda weird.
It That's the reason why I think it's Jessiba.
Um, yeah, she's scary as shit.
Mhm, mhm.
She was like, "You know what? Fuck being a witch. I'm gonna go serve the literal king of the damned."
Yeah,
Well, I guess they're not damned because they're still, like,
yeah.
have their souls in the bone quarter, but, like, the king of the underworld pretty
Mhm.
much. For to what end? Like, for what reason?
And, like, not just serve him, but, like, be his right-hand man.
She goes to the summit in lieu of him.
Yeah, like, in his place.
And it's not made clear at the beginning that she has that, like, holds that standing.
Yes.
When she arrived at the summit, I was like, "Oh." I thought this was just Bryce's boss, that's kinda
Yeah,
crazy. She is like, witchy necromancery still
yeah,
in everything that she does, um, but she's, like, really scary to me, and she's always it does get corny how often she threatens to turn Bryce into, like, an
agree,
animal.
agree. Like, we got it.
So dumb.
I agree. It is so funny. Like, she's such a mystery. Like, what's she off doing on that other continent?
I don't know, digging up these millions and millions of dollars worth of shit that she finds. The fact that she just had the library hidden in her warehouse and no one knew
Yeah.
until that thing went live.
Yeah, like, in the middle of town, she's just, like, got these illegal, forbidden books, but she
That have
had
some sort of, like, weird autonomy to do whatever they want, and she just has, like, a fire sprite in charge. What is going on?
and, like, all the animals that are, like, scattered around. It's
The
she's
freaking knock or noke or whatever that creepy ass thing is, terrifying.
yeah,
Terrifying. Why would she put that in there? I have no idea.
I don't know, but one thing
She
about
does just, like, sketchy shit.
yeah, 100%, and, like, you don't ever get any reasoning because, like, why would you ask her? Like, that's scary to
You can't she's not gonna tell you anything, she's just gonna, like, tell you to get back to work.
exactly, but speaking of getting back to work, telling people to get back to work, she really needs to, like, be nicer to Bryce
I
because
so agree.
Bryce is, like, literally doing her job and, like, it is not dicking around.
Doing her job, taking less than she should for pay,
Mhm.
and who else is gonna work for you?
No, literally, like, you can't just, like, threaten people all the time. Granted, it just kinda rolls off Bryce's back, like, she doesn't really let it get to her, but s hopefully after this, all the shit that's gone down, she will just, like, be a little bit nicer or just, like, have some respect.
Hope to God. Bryce laid her life Lahaba laid her life on the line
Literally.
to protect not only Bryce, but and the world, but the books. Like, the only reason why those books have not been, like, confiscated by the fucking hysteria is because
Mhm.
of Bryce and Lahaba, so
Yeah,
she needs to
so
put a little respect.
or at least, like, give her a day off, my
My
god, like
god. It's like, "Nope, gotta work. Nope, gotta work. Nope, have an appointment."
yeah, she really needs to be nicer, but okay, another thing about Jessica, she's obviously in cahoots with Adis, who I'm a simp for, like, here I am again.
How did we write all of these characters that Katie enjoys except for the male main
No,
character?
no, literally.
I actually do enjoy Adis as well, but continue on your train of thought.
Yeah, like, here I am again, uh, cryptic, um, witty, kind of just, like, flirty, playful character who's scary. I'm obsessed, like, I love him. whatever he and Jessica have going on together, I'm scared of. What? What did they mean at the end when she says, like, Hunt's father would be proud? Did you catch that?
I caught that, but we didn't hear anything about his father,
I thought
right?
he said he didn't know who his
He
father
doesn't know who
was.
he is, that's right, because his mom was, like, not that powerful,
Mhm,
and so everyone is kind of confused as to why Hunt has so much lightning power,
mhm.
because no other angels have lightning. They have
Yes,
storms
yes,
and weather, but they don't have lightning in particular.
yes.
So his dad had to be somebody, and
Mhm.
Jessica's just she just would know. She would know.
Right, right, because she just knows things. But yeah, very curious to see what their connection is with one another. I mean, it's not, like, surprising or anything that she would be
In cahoots with the king of hell.
yeah, no, no, like, not surprising at all. So anyway, speaking of hell and rats that have crawled out of it, let's talk about Sabine.
Okay, that bitch,
Mm.
I how she lived to see the end of this book is beyond me. I detest the fact. She needs to rot.
Yeah.
Like, I wish Adis would have dragged her back down whenever he went down
Mhm.
there and let her just, like,
Right.
get fucked by the demons.
I wish that when Hunt would have killed, Sandriel, he would have just, like, flung a little lightning Sabine's way. This is the most nasty, rotten bitch on planet Midgard, like, she has to go. I do not give one fuck, not a single fuck about a redemption arc
No.
or her making up with Bryce, like, I don't care. I want I want a brutal death for her. The shit that she said, she's so vile and nasty, like, did she even care about Danica?
No, and you know what? They tried to bring it in as if she did whenever she's like, "I was protecting her because she stole the
Mhm.
horn." Okay, you did one nice thing for your daughter that was literally 20 years old. You were so scared of her and so jealous. It's so disgusting.
Yes.
As a mother, like, you're so jealous and
Yes.
worried about your daughter taking over
Yes.
your little wolf den
Yeah.
that you can't just let her live a normal life. Like, why are you so involved? And I loved at the end when the Prime called Bryce a wolf and Sabine damn near fell out. Was like, "No, no, no, you're just sensing the sword." He's like, "Mm-mm.
Yeah.
No, that bitch is more of a wolf than you will ever be because she takes, like, the actual what is it called? Like, wolf traits.
Mhm.
Like, just because you turn into a wolf doesn't mean that you have the characteristics that
Right.
it takes.
Right. Like, Sabine, like, if you're insecure, just say that. Like,
You don't even have to say it because it's written all over every single action you take.
literally, she is a rotten, nasty bitch. She's gotta go. Hope that she gets pushed off a roof.
Let me see if
Like,
I wrote down anything else for her because I was pissed at the end. Oh, whenever she's like still like, you're gonna spend your last like chance at saving the city sabotaging Bryce. You're like, don't send the other Ox unit over there. There's a system for a reason. Blah blah blah. Like, thank God that Ethan gave a shit about the little kids that were gonna die.
thank God Sabine's not in charge because, like, she she's awful. I don't think that she gave a fuck about Danica. Sure, she, like, covered up the thing with the footage, but she all the time is talking shit like, "My party girl, like, drug addict daughter."
Oh, she was so that's what pisses me off the most is Danica's dead and you have nothing nice to say? Just because you did one thing to protect her,
Right.
like, you don't get to just you don't get to just continually talk shit about her
Right, and
forever.
maybe if you were, like, a more involved, more, like, warm mother, you would have known what she had going on, like, in the background.
Yeah,
Maybe if you cared or maybe if you were a good person.
she's awful, awful, awful. And
Yeah.
the only like obviously I feel like Danica was such a big part of the book and I wish that she was alive for Bryce's sake.
Mhm.
But for the main reason that I wish she was still alive is just to see her take over Sabine.
No,
Like
literally. I would love nothing more than for Danica to, like, be the one to kill her, like, put her in
I
her
don't know if she
place.
would have, but I would like to see it.
Mhm. I would like to see it too. So, moving on to our next piece of shit, let's talk about Micah.
The way I was so shocked when it was him at the end.
Yeah.
So shocked. And I think you put this in the Google Doc, but when you find out, then everything makes sense.
No, literally, and also when you find out earlier that Micah was the person who was attacked that night in the alley, like, Bryce finds out that it was Micah who the Crystallos had attacked. At that point in time, it should have been obvious, but it surely was not because, like,
No, because we didn't even know what the fuck this demon
yeah,
was.
exactly, like, once you find out it's supposed to, like, raise your little feelers, like, why was Micah alone that close to their apartment that night? It's supposed to it shot went over my head, like,
No, because in my head, whenever she's like chasing down the Crystallos, it's like in the middle of the city now. Like it doesn't like ring any bells that it's
mhm,
right outside their apartment.
exactly, exactly, and I think it is, like, a little further away because remember, she's, like, on the phone, she, like, can't tell the operator, like, where she's at, so they are, like, further, but it's
But
still
still,
strange.
yeah.
It's
No,
still
that's that it
strange.
all like locks into place while he
Mhm.
was, doing all this shit. Um he bothers me so much, obviously like the ending.
Yeah.
But throughout the whole thing, I know you don't like Hunt, but just his relationship with Hunt pisses me the fuck off.
Mhm.
Like, you're sitting here dangling his freedom in front of his face and making him do all this fucked up shit for you.
Mhm.
For what? You just inherited him. Like, he didn't do anything to you personally
Right.
ever, and you treat him like shit day in and day out.
And, like, what was bothering me more than anything is that I felt like Micah, generally speaking, was nice to Hunt. He made him do, like, fucked up shit and planned to keep him as a slave. But generally speaking, like, he kinda took mercy on him whenever Sabine called for him to be executed from
That's true.
attacking Emily or whatever her name is. But, like, Micah the thing about Micah is that she sets you up to be like, "Well, he's not, like, that bad of a guy." But, like so you're onto it, like, the whole time, but you can't figure out, like, why he's gonna be a piece of shit in the end. And the thing about Micah is that the way he went about things was, like, awful. His intent was to, like, um, help his people. So, I wouldn't say that he's, like, the most evil son of a bitch, like, to ever walk the planet, but I think he was, like, a little bit psychotic, like, in
Okay. What people? I don't know his motive. I have absolutely no further clearance on what the fuck was his plan when the gates of hell opened.
that's the thing. Did he think about
No. No. Because his beef, if he wants to free all of the angels, is with the Aseri.
right.
Opening up the gates of hell into Crescent City when the Asteri are not even residing there? What did you think was gonna happen?
And yeah, it was just, like, not a very well thought out plan, like
Which doesn't seem like him. He seems very type A, very on it.
right,
What was he gonna do? Walk over to there and be like, Now you demons bow to me?"
right, and he really thought that they were just gonna bow to him?
Misguided. He was definitely misguided. And this is not a spoiler, but someone in the next book I'm only like 100 pages into the next book, and I have absolutely no idea what happens. Like, the way I have erased the
Mhm,
second book from my memory is
mhm.
crazy. But someone says to Bryce, like, as an insult, like, "Micah should have killed you and been done with it." I'm like, "Have you not seen the footage?" Like, that is what that dude tried to do from the get-go,
Right,
and he totally misjudged himself and his power.
100%.
He what is the line? Someone has told him that he is fine. You know what I'm talking about? The Tiffany line. Oh my
Yeah.
god, it's New York, and she's like, "Someone has lied
I'd
to her
like to.
several times and told her that she is fine." And she is none of those things. She is nothing of the sort. That is how I feel about him. He is nothing of the sort,
Mhm.
but he is under the impression that he is everything.
Yeah. I feel like he just, like, was entitled because, like, he's the archangel, and so he just thought his shit doesn't stink, but, like, my god, was he wrong. Loved his ending. Let's talk about the vacuum because the way that is the biggest slay of any book, just sucking him up, and I think even, like, in the book says, like, Sandriel, like, watched on as Micah was, like, vacuumed up, like, Bryce
And,
had
like,
just put a bag of
deposited
chips.
him into the yeah, trash can. Like, I literally wrote in the Google Doc, like, "Enjoy hell, but actually just enjoy, like, Crescent City's waste management
But
system." Like
100%,
like, you're just gonna, like, chill in the sewers forever.
100%. The ending was so good, like, shoots him in the head, which okay, it's, like, a little badass that Bryce can just, like, handle guns.
Oh, I'd have meant to bring that up about her. I loved the entire background of her and Randall
Yes,
so much, and I love Ember, her mom,
yes,
amazing character,
yes.
hilarious. But that is one thing about her that I really liked is, like, she's not, like, trained in, like, combat,
Mhm.
but she's very well trained in shooting, and I love
Yes.
it. And she I mean, I think they mentioned there's, like, some dagger training and sword, but not
Yeah,
really.
yeah.
It's more just, like, guns, and that's so sick.
I agree, and this feels not too contrived, like, when you have a female main character and she just, like, can fight with a sword, but she just, like, lives on the streets, like, whatever, she's just normal. This feels right, like, Sarah J. Maas set it up beautifully, Randall was in the army or the military, whatever. He would teach Bryce how to take care of herself, especially, like, she moves on into the
Yeah, she's
city.
half human, he's worried about her,
Yeah,
like, she needs to know these things.
that tracks, and I like that. It doesn't feel too.
Fake, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's also not only was he in the army, it's probably, like, his pastime. He probably just goes to the shooting range whenever he's bored on the weekend and
Yes.
just drug her along with him.
Yes. So,
I loved that.
yeah, I do too. But Micah throwing Syrinx in the tank?
Plot hole, huge plot hole, what the fuck? I have a question about this.
Okay.
Syrinx can let himself out of confinement.
You're so right.
He just was gonna chill in the tank with the knock and drown?
You're so right.
Hunt even says there's more small power or small magic that he can do. I'll tell you about it later,
Yeah.
explain it later, like, he doesn't have to stay in his cage, he doesn't have to stay in your apartment. He exits the apartment and goes onto the roof to bite Hunt in the ass and goes straight back into his little cage, like
Slay.
yeah, slay. Um,
Plot
plot
hole.
hole.
See, you've cracked the code. That's a good one. I've never thought about that before,
And it
but
would be
you're
different if they were
right.
like, "Oh, the tank was magical, the tank this, the tank that."
Right.
It wasn't brought up.
Wow. Okay.
Just let that one sink
Yeah,
in.
yeah,
Yeah,
no, we're
I'm,
just
like,
gonna
such a genius.
yeah, we're gonna let that one just, like, float out there, and
More characters left?
we do, we only have 2.
Okay.
Let's go ahead and talk about Lahaba. Ugh, when I read the scene again, I've read this book, I know that she dies. I wasn't fucking ready, like,
No, I still cried.
no, I didn't what I was doing could not be described as crying. When I tell you I'm trying to think, I was at my in-laws, and Hoyt and his
You
brother were
Oh, yeah, y'all
upstairs,
weren't even moved in yet.
and no one was there, but, like, him and his brother were upstairs. When I tell you I was, like, shuddering, like, li it was bad, like,
It's so bad.
when she's saying, "My friends are with me," and I what did she say? Like, "I won't be
I won't be
afraid. I'm not
afraid.
afraid." I can't, like,
And she's like, "I bought your freedom. I want you to go and enjoy your
mm,
freedom." And she's like, "Well, then let the record show that my first act of freedom was to save my friends," or
oh,
whatever. Talk about a freaking knife to the heart.
no, like,
Katie's crying. Katie is actively crying thinking about this because it's the sweetest scene in the world. She's the best character. She is the best character in this whole book.
the thing is, like, she kind of got on my nerves in, like, a cute way, like, in a little sister.
Uh-huh, and very endearing, but totally over the top.
Totally, and oh my god, when what is it? I think, like, Hunt comes in for the first time, and Lahava, like, knocks on the door, and she's like, "BB, are you okay? Like, I just heard something about." I'm like, "Oh my
Oh,
god."
she's she's so meddling. I love it. She's like, "Mm-mm, I'm gonna see what's going on." Like, she has to figure it out. And then whenever Hunt comes in, she's, like, swishing her little hips, and she's like, "Baby girl, you are an inch high."
I love her.
Love her too, and she's, like, always posted up on that little Barbie Chase lounge
Yeah.
watching TV. She's perfect.
She is perfect, and RIP to a real one. I love her. I'm sad that she had to go. Like, this was a bad character death for me.
Mhm.
Sarah J. Maas is the queen of ripping out my fucking heart with character deaths, and this was no different.
I totally agree. I loved, loved, loved her character. Ugh, it's just not justified. I wanted her to enjoy her freedom
No,
and
totally.
get to, like, live out a normal life, not have to be stuck in the archives all the time. Although I do imagine that she would still wanna work there, like, to get paid to work there.
No, I imagine that she would still wanna go, like, hang out with Bryce there every day, like, in Syrinx. Like, I feel like that's what she wants to do is
Have them hang out.
yes, I agree. So, RIP. If it gets brought up in the next book and Bryce is, like, grieving her loss, I will be crying again. Like,
Yeah.
it really was more intense than I remembered, and I remembered being, like, really upset the first time.
Yeah.
It was
No, it's no, you can't, like, mentally prepare for that because it's so sweet and just she's just an angel.
yeah, she is. RIP Lahaba. Okay, our last character is the Autumn King, which we've already kind of talked about him a decent amount, but he's gross.
He's so gross. He's so confusing to me because, again, with the politics, so there's, like, the Avalon Fae, the
Yeah,
Valbaran Fae,
yeah.
which he's in charge of, I get that. Do all the other Fae, like, not answer to the people in Lunathian? Do they don't live there? Like, what the fuck is going on with that?
I don't know.
And they're related, like, they were, like, Rune's cousins in Avalon have the shadow powers and have shown him or whatever, the mind
Yeah,
speak, one of the powers,
yeah.
and they've shown him how to use them. Okay, when did they hang out? Like, what is going on? What like, what are you talking about?
And, like, isn't Rune's mom still alive?
I
I think
haven't
she is. No,
how
she
would
lives
I
right down the
know?
street. She lives right down the road. I'm
I
pretty
don't remember any
sure.
of this. I don't know.
We gotta find out.
We do have to find out. I do think, again, the same thing as Sabine, they tried to, like, tug on her heartstrings a little bit and say, like, "I was gonna make Ember my queen. I didn't care if she was a human. I was gonna, like, let
Mm.
her, I was in love with her." No, you're shady, you're fucked up. You are living with regret and remorse for what you did,
Mhm.
but that does not mean that anyone should forgive you, and I feel
Yeah.
like Ember needs to just, like, let him have it.
Oh.
Well, she did at the end, right?
Well, that was, like, one of my favorite parts where she's like, Bryce was 13, like, you left her on the curb like garbage, and then what does she say? I wrote it down because I wanted to get this right. Um, "I hope she finally returns the favor, you fucking asshole."
Exactly. I love it.
And she did not stutter.
No, no. The thing with Ember is, like, she has had, what, 21, 22 years to process this. She's with somebody who could shoot him between the fucking eyeballs without even, like, blinking,
Right, right.
and she's not worried about him anymore. But the fact that he made her, like, flee with her daughter and escape
Mhm.
not only him, but everyone else in fucking Crescent City
Yeah,
is so fucked up.
yeah.
After he, like didn't he, like, beat the shit out of her? Like, she has a scar on her
Yeah.
face. It's not really said.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, so hopefully we'll get to learn, what happens, but yeah, he's a piece of
He's
shit.
a piece of shit.
So glad that Bryce's power is like 0.00001
Yeah,
Paragon
yeah, that's all I needed. It's all I needed.
100%, like, I could die happy knowing that.
Yeah, the only thing that I don't like about it is that I like that he knows, but I feel like now because there's this political thing where he's still, like, in charge of her, quote,
Mhm.
unquote, because he gave her, like, the
Yeah.
civitas, whatever, she still answers to him, so he's gonna try to do something fucked up. I don't know what it's gonna be,
Yeah.
but, like, he's so sneaky and, like, mean and just I feel like he's gonna try to fuck up whatever Bryce finally has going, like, she's, like, living a normal life with Hunt,
Yeah.
she's powerful, like, I don't know, he's gonna sneak in.
And who even knows what is to come with her being, like, Starborn and, like,
Yeah.
they were speculating, like, what does this mean about the next in line, like, for the throne? Now it's, like, out and, like, he's gonna have to address it
Yeah.
at some point in time.
Mhm. What's he gonna, like what's he gonna say? He doesn't get to pick anymore, I think.
Mhm.
That's what I think, I don't know. But it seems like it would be up to Bryce and Rune together to decide
Yeah.
who's gonna be in charge, and when do they kill him? Because I'm ready for him to GO.
Mhm. Completely agree. I would really like to get him and Ember in a room and, like, verbally spar with one another because, like, I know that she's about to eat him alive.
He does have some really scary one-liners, though.
He
To
does.
Rune, I'm like, "Damn, that one cut deep." But they're good, they're good.
Yeah, no, I agree, and a lot to come with him. I have a feeling he will be, a big part of the next book with everything that is going on with Bryce, so did you have anybody else that you wanted to bring up, touch on? That we skipped a lot of characters, but
So
I feel
many. It was
like
so hard to even, like, pare down to this.
yeah,
But I feel like maybe unless I don't remember if there's, like, a bunch of new characters in the next one or not, but maybe some of the smaller ones in this one will play bigger roles and we can talk
yes,
about them. But
yes,
no, I don't think I
100%.
have anyone else that
Okay, um, let's go ahead and move on to our next segment where we play favorites. So who was your favorite character in this book?
Lahaba.
Of course.
Ah, love her. She's perfect. We already discussed. No need
Mhm.
to cry about it more. Um, honorable mention, Fury.
Queen.
So good. Obviously, we didn't talk about her. She plays such a minimal role, but she is mysterious. She pops up at all times. No one knows what she does except for it's just killing people.
Yeah,
No one knows like what she is. It's kind of giving Amarin like
yeah,
well, I know that I I've seen fan art and their fan art is similar too, so I know it's not just me that pictures her that way. Like
yeah,
it's the short chopped black hair.
right.
It's I don't know, like, almost Asian vibes, like, the
Yeah,
skin tone and the eyes that are kinda slanted,
yeah,
and then she also, like, appears places, like, she appeared on the boat with a
yeah.
gun to fucking someone's head. Whose head was it against? I don't even remember. Hunt's,
Hunt.
maybe?
Good. Should have pulled the trigger.
Uh, like, she just knows shit and hears shit, and, like, she will never, ever, ever spill, like, where she got
Yeah.
her info. She's just, like, very aware.
I love Fury. I want to know so much more about her because, like, she's a mystery, but I feel like we're not gonna find out, like
Would it, like, ruin the vibe, though? Like, if we
right.
knew, would we still think that she was
Right.
awesome? I don't know. But I
Right.
do, like the only thing about Fury is I was really sad whenever she kind of, like, abandoned Bryce after
Oh,
Danica died,
yeah.
and Bryce and her, like, kinda had that rough patch.
Mhm.
But I'm hoping with the ending, there'll be more,
Yeah,
you
no,
know?
I agree,
Also,
like
like, what the fuck was Fury doing at the summit? Like, no, but, like, who is she?
I guess she's just, like, a key player, but we don't really know why or how. Good point. Yeah, I love her, I'm hoping that she'll kind of, like, be around more, but, like, apparently she's dating Juniper, so one would hope that she would be around,
Yeah.
um, so yeah, love her.
What about
Um,
yours?
my favorite character was Rune.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Love him, already talked about it. Better male main character than Hunt. I don't have anything else to say. I love him.
Rune wins. Okay, favorite scene.
Just the whole library scene at the end, like the vacuuming in particular,
Hilarious. Oh, it's so good.
but like start to finish. This is what I wanted to say. Everybody talks about Sarah J. Maas books. The last 100 pages are always like crazy. This book, and I've read them all. This book, the last 100 pages, in to me,
The
are the
craziest.
craziest. Yeah, the most. Just like it is one thing after another, after another, after another. Like you've got the Micah, and then you've got the demons, and then you've got the explosions, and then you've got the drop. It's just like it literally never stops. This is the craziest one to
I
me.
agree. This is like insane, like
Yeah.
balls to the wall. You can't stop reading it. Once you start the last 100 pages, you're just like,
No, no, literally, like
nothing else matters.
that was why when I was not able to gobble it up the way that I wanted
Just sit and
to.
read it. You
Yeah,
can't.
literally,
What are you
like
gonna do? Stop in the middle of Micah trying to kill her?
like Syrinx is in the tank, and I'm like, "Ugh, gotta go to bed." Like, no. So, yeah, that was my favorite. What about you?
Okay, my favorite is the drop scene. The Danica scene is just like, oh, it's so sweet, and it's very they are sisters,
Yeah,
like,
agree.
truly, they are.
Like, soul like, attached in their souls, not like soul sisters, but, like
Yeah. Yeah, no, they are something different,
yeah,
and I like how she addresses it at one point in the book. She's like, "Everyone assumes that we're, like, lovers or something, but we're not, like, we have a bond, a
yeah,
connection that I can't explain."
yep,
And that, like, really sent me then and then she finds out that, like, Connor and then, like, held off everybody. It's just, like, so heartwarming.
mhm.
And then I loved whenever she, like, goes and says something to Hunt, like, "I love you," I think.
Yeah,
It doesn't say,
yeah,
it just
the
says
3
3
words.
words. And then they're like, "How is she surviving the drop? How is she surviving the ascent?"
Yeah,
Because it's taken so long, and you find out that Hunt is doing CPR on her, but he's, like, also calling her a coward for saying that she loved him whenever she knew he was about to
yeah.
die, like, I am obsessed with that. That is so funny. He's like, "Get back here and say it to my face, you fucking coward." I'm like, this but, like, that stuff like that is what makes me think that, like, they actually are kind of simpatico, as I alluded to earlier.
It
That
gives him something,
it
like,
does, yeah.
he finally
He delivered one thing.
right. One single
Yeah,
line,
and I ate it up.
yeah.
Like, it's just such a simple algorithm to get us to like these characters, Sarah. I know you know it. Follow it.
Totally. Yeah, that's a good one. Okay, let's talk some shit, and I'm not gonna lie, like,
There's shit to be talked here. There's shit to be talked.
I agree. So, what was your least favorite scene?
I don't remember exactly how this is presented, and we brought it up earlier, but some part in the middle where you find out that Ethan tells Bryce that she's like, what? Or I think is that kind of after. Anyway, she finds out that she's not invited to the sailing,
Mhm.
and that fucking wrecked me. But then you go back and find out that it's because like they like exploited all of her shit from her phone,
Mhm.
and Ethan sees all the shit about her like fucking that guy in the
Yeah.
bathroom. It really like does not sit well with me that all of her dirty laundry was aired out
Yeah.
for the world to see, but then also Ethan, who's so impressionable, they were best friends for
Yes.
years and years, and now he wants nothing to do with her and he treats her like absolute shit. It broke me. And I understand
Same.
that he felt like he needed to defend his brother
Yeah.
in that moment, but I am not okay with that.
No, like, yeah, everyone was hurting. Like, he just lost his brother the same way that Bryce lost her sister. But yeah, that part ate me alive. Like, especially because in that scene, which is like one of the very first scenes at the beginning, like she goes over to the bone quarter and she sees the text and like everything. She's like in such deep mourning over everything. And then it's just like the dagger, like
Yeah.
right to the heart. That and that is kind of similar thing, like when they go to the den and everybody's like so mean to her.
God. I hate it.
And she just, like, wanted to run out of there crying, like, so did I. I can't imagine somebody being so mean to me, and it's like, the thing is, Bryce didn't kill them, like, she's hurting too, like, they were it was her best
And
friend
they
and her love
blame her
interest.
because what? She was at the bar already? They were gonna meet her there.
Right.
Like, it's not that she could have been there. What was she gonna do? Protect them? Save them? Something that killed the entire pack of devils and Danica, Bryce is gonna save them?
Right. A half
Be
human
fucking
girl.
for real.
It was so unfair, like, the fact that they just treated her that way like scum, I just feel like it's not warranted, like, sure, be upset with the fucking the guy in the bathroom.
Oh, this is an honorable mention. A thing that I hated was finding out that she gave up her spot in the bone quarter for Danica.
Same. I don't
Again,
understand.
self-sacrificial, weird, probably not even needed.
That's
Danica
the
should have ended up
thing.
over there anyway.
That's the thing, like, why did Bryce feel like she needed to do that? Like, that's
And
extreme.
then Sabine is like, "Oh, haha, like you thought Danica wasn't gonna like you knew. You knew that she was a piece of shit." And I'm like, this whole thing is just icky. Like
Yeah,
it's just I don't like
and
thinking about what's gonna happen to Bryce in the afterlife now.
and it like, it needs to have a point at this current spot where we're at, like, we don't know if there's gonna be a reason why she did it and, like, it play out okay, but, like, it's kind of not
No,
playing out
it feels
okay.
like she didn't wanna win.
Yeah,
Like, what? I don't want Danica's boat to sink, so let me just go sacrifice my soul, my eternal resting place.
yeah,
And now Danica's soul isn't even fucking there.
and, like, the Under King asked her, he's like, "Eternity is a long time,"
He's like,
like,
"You gotta say it 7 times for me to even acknowledge it."
yeah, like,
So
he's like, "You're sure? You're sure?" She's like, "Yeah." Like, the fact and it even says, like, on the 7th time, she didn't even check up. She's like, "I wish to trade my" or I don't remember the exact line. That's dumb.
yeah, it's dumb. So, yeah, I hate both those scenes. What about you?
Yeah, that was mine, pretty much same thing, but also Hunt being alive.
I love it. What are what's, like, one thing about the plot or book that you hated or that you'd change?
Okay, aside from Hunt, because that is what I would change. Also, some of the we talked about it, like, some of the dialogue, especially, like, between the 2 of them, it's reading rom-com
Oh my god.
sometimes, and the thing is, if Sarah J. Maas wrote a rom-com, I would eat the shit up. Like, I'm not complaining about rom-coms, but don't mix it with my fantasy. I hate, like, calling each other by their last names.
The fucking the contacts in the phone, Bryce rocks my I'm gonna say it's louder for the people in the back. Bryce rocks my socks?
No.
What?
No.
What was the other one? Bryce is a queen or something?
I can't remember.
Disgusting.
Yeah, no, I hate, like again, love a rom-com, don't put it in my fantasy, like, again, I think it's kinda like the nature of the fact that this is written so modern. Um, but yeah, I
I just remembered one of my least favorite scenes, and this is so quick. So let me go back to where we were talking about
Okay.
that. There's this scene where Hunt notices that she has on a paint on her toenails that is like red, and he's like, I don't want to get distracted by that. I'm trying to focus on the competition at hand and not what her toes would taste like.
Well,
Do you remember that? I'm sure you don't. But literally, he's like trying not to think about sucking her toes.
okay, no, like,
This just goes back to like the rom-com of it all. Like, what the fuck are you talking about?
no.
And there's one part where they're talking about like fucking or something, and she's like, "Oh, I'll buy you a milkshake," or he said that.
What?
What are you talking about?
No, I can't do it, like, I I think that Sarah J. Maas did a fantastic job writing a book that's set with, like, mod with texting and all of that, I really do. It's not my thing, like
I actually really loved the guns, the texting,
mhm,
the cool use of magic in
yeah,
line with technology,
yes, yeah, I agree.
and I think that was she hit it out of the park. What does that have to do with anything else? The corniness is just for fun.
Yeah, like, don't and not that it's not that she used slang per se, but it's like, it's too I wanna be reading this in, like, a British accent almost, like
Because it's not America. It's
yeah,
you
like,
should have made up their own slang.
I'm just into, like, Victorian era-esque fantasy.
She's made up slang for every other one.
Yeah,
Make it up for this one because it's we don't live there.
yep, 100%. So, yeah, that was my thing that I would change. What about you?
Um, the thing that I would change is the amount of fucking time we spent trying to decipher what is going on with the case. Because by
Ashley.
the time we figure out what's going on with the case, which is again, like you said, last 100 pages,
Mhm.
there's been so many circles. Like, is the synth important? Is
Oh
the
my
synth not
god.
important? Is it the crystallos? Is it a different demon? Is hell in charge of this? Are they not?
Mhm.
What role did Danica play?
Yes.
Does the horn fucking matter? Oh my god. And then I could never keep up with, like, actually which parts were true and
No,
which parts were
literally.
just what they, like, made up in their head.
Yes, what they speculated about.
Yeah.
That is my biggest issue with any kind of, like, whodunit, solving a case. I get confused, like, way too easily, like,
Yeah.
I literally have to write down, "Okay, this is what they think," and then add another note, like, "That didn't work out." So,
Mm.
like, I literally have to because I can't keep up. I actually had a similar experience with, Kingdom of the Wicked, but
Oh my god. Yes.
that specific thing is the reason why I did not fucking remember what happened in this book. Like, I did not remember the ending. I remember that Micah was involved, and I remembered that the drugs I literally thought that the synth was, like, the main character of this book, the way it's not,
I
like,
know. I know.
it I couldn't remember. I hate that, like and it's not I don't know, it's just it's not this book specifically, it's this, like, solving a case. I get so
It's hard to
confused.
do, yeah.
Mhm,
But it's also, like, it was so much. Like, this to me is too long of a book to be your debut in a series.
mhm,
I was on page, like, 500, and I didn't even have, like, a contender for favorite scene.
100%.
This could have been a 500-page book. Let me see how many the paperback has, because we didn't there was no need to, like, continue to go down the speculation
Y Oh my gosh,
circles.
I totally agree.
Let's see. There's 799.
That's the exact same as um, the ebook.
Okay. That's too many.
Yeah,
That's about 300 too many,
agree.
only because, again, like, we spend so much time world building, quote unquote, which to no end, and then speculating on this case whenever we didn't have to, like, go into all the nitty-gritty details.
Yes, like, there's so many layers to this, and something that I wrote down is, like, the bombing, and then there was, like, the business card that had the C on it that, like, was shaped like the horn, like, that part of the story, like, the club being blown up is, like, not
Didn't they
relevant.
say, like, Micah did it?
Yeah, he did it
And
to
he put the C.
yeah, like, what? It's just it kinda wasn't necessary. This book is very long.
Yeah, there was so much stuff that, like, the club didn't need to get blown up. The shit didn't need to happen with the vampire at the beginning.
Mhm.
They got almost 0 information from going to the meat market.
The meat market, like, remember that?
Yeah,
Like,
and that was a sick scene with the Viper Queen. That was a
yeah,
great scene.
it was I'm, like, low-key obsessed with her.
Yeah, me
Um,
too.
but anyway, yeah, there's just a lot in this book. The next book, I also don't really remember what happens in it.
No, me either. I remember the last, like, 4 pages, and that's it.
Yeah, no, same. It can't be another, like, whodunit because I go cross-eyed.
I know, me too. The whole thing, that's what I would change, the plot.
Mhm. Just like that one small thing.
Just the first 300 pages.
That's funny. Okay, did you have any hot takes?
Yeah, I'm like literally not mad at Hunt.
That's crazy.
This might be where I get canceled. I don't know if everyone agrees with Katie or if everyone agrees with me or hear me out. People are like middle ground because one thing about it is Katie even liked him up until the betrayal.
Mhm.
Even the first time I read this book, the betrayal happened. I gasped. I was upset for a second.
Mhm.
Like I said, Bryce forgave him. I thought about the fact that he was literally enslaved for 200 years,
Mhm.
realizes that Micah is not going to let him be free, that he's a piece of shit, finds a way for not only him, he thinks, not only him, but all of the other angels to get their freedom, which is exactly, I think, what Micah was trying to say to
Mhm.
do
Mhm.
in a different roundabout way. But basically, it wasn't just for Hunt what the synth shit was. It was not for his own end,
Yeah.
really. It was to help all of the rebels rebel again. Like they
Yeah.
still aren't happy. They're fallen angels, they're slaves. They want to not be that way.
Yeah.
It's been 200 years. They feel like they've paid their dues. Hunt definitely has. And it was never about betraying Bryce on purpose. It was never about hurting her. It was never like all of this shit started in the background before he even like probably realized that he was in love with Bryce. So I have to take the stand that Bryce takes, which is I don't really have a reason to be mad here anymore. Like, sure, you can be mad all you want, but what like that's not gonna help you. Like Hunt's still in the picture. So like there's no reason for me to be mad at him anymore. I also like I had texted a friend like, "Oh, I'm starting Crescent City." Like so excited for the last one to come out. She's already read them and she's like, "God, I don't want to restart. I just know I'm going to be so gutted by Hunt's betrayal again." I'm like, "I really wasn't gutted the first time. I was more just like,
No.
what the fuck is he doing on the boat?"
You know
But then he
what?
says like, "Okay, I was trying to stop it, but then I had to go because I didn't want them to die
Yeah.
in the." So it's like there's some sort of excuse there and some sort of like, "Hey, I realized I was fucking up and this is going to like fuck up everything we've worked towards." So I understand that there's like he fucked up. He should have to apologize. He doesn't apologize, which is really weird to me.
Mhm.
Like he never really apologizes, but it is made very clear that he's regretful of the whole thing.
Sure. He does need to apologize.
100%. He doesn't. I don't know like why he doesn't apologize before the end of the book.
Right. Well, granted, they do have a lot going on, like,
Yeah.
at the end of the book, and he probably would like to wait for a time. I'm saying this as though Hunt is a decent person, and maybe he is, it's yet to be seen, but ideally, he would be like, "Bryce, like, I'm so sorry," sit down, really, like, have an adult conversation.
One thing I do have another question about, and this feels like another plot hole to me. So when he decides he's gonna careen down from the top and like instead of like using his lightning to literally obliterate all of those tanks that are shooting at the city, he decides he's just gonna like cover up Bryce.
Right.
And then after that, he's like, the tanks were gone, but I was gonna lightning them. Like, why didn't you do that?
Right.
You were already flying from the skies. You could have already lit them up.
That's such a good point.
There's so many little things that I'm like, this is weird.
That's such a good point. That would have been a far better plan to just, like
Yeah, lightening those little things up, and then if they've already shot, then you can cover up
right,
Bryce.
right,
Maybe that was his apology, sacrificing himself.
oh my god.
He's like, "You know what? I'm just gonna, like I'm gonna
What
end it. I deserve it. I'm
wasn't enough for
sorry."
me. I mean, like, I'm saying I want this man, like, groveling, like,
I think he should grovel. I agree.
I'm talking
She
on
didn't
his knees,
because he didn't apologize. She then goes to sacrifice herself, her
literally,
life,
for
okay,
him.
for him, and then he's like, you lied about being the Autumn Princess?"
No, the way no, okay.
But I'm not mad. I like, that is my hot take.
That
I
is a hot
have
take.
I have no beef with Hunt at all.
No, like I said, you can bring up however many good points you want to. I'm set.
Okay. Um, Agree to disagree. I can't wait to figure out what, like, I don't remember where this goes as far as Bryce
Mm-mm.
and Hunt go. I don't know if he ever even apologizes ever.
Yeah, same.
So I look forward to that if it does happen, just for your fucking
Same.
sake, for
Same.
your sanity. But if you had a hot take and it wasn't like you fucking hate everything about this book, what would it be?
So my hot take is that why is it all of the male main characters in Sarah J. Maas's books need to have a permanent marking on their face?
It's a great question. It's a great question. What the fuck?
Why?
Like, you're telling me that you have to have the halo across your forehead so that people know that you're a fallen angel? You couldn't be on your neck?
What is it? Like, why the face? It, to me, especially because, like, male main character needs to be stunning, like 100% perfect, but you keep putting shit on their faces. And so, like, to me, they're perfect, I guess, like air quotes, but they're not because you put shit on their face. Like, what is that?
Like, was this Post Malone?
Is this Post Malone? Like, that's I don't know if that's a hot take, but like, fucking stop. Like,
No, I get it. I totally get it.
the Tamlin was a lot.
Oh my god. That's even honestly, that is even more drastic. Like a
Mhm.
mask? And not just Tamlin, Lucian had a mask on? Everyone had a mask on?
Mhm. I hated it. Like,
Do you hate Rowan's from Throne of Glass, like, on the side of the face?
I didn't mind his as much,
Okay.
but still, like,
But why?
does her husband have a face tat? Like,
What is your obsession?
it's
It's giving
it's
kink.
it, it's giving kink. It's so weird. Like,
It's so weird.
yeah, I don't think that that's a hot take, but
No, but it is a good point. It is something that should have been addressed. Like, this is
yeah.
not our first rendezvous with a man with a face issue.
Mhm. Exactly.
So, okay, so overall thoughts, besides us both hating the whole book, how many stars? How many stars did you give it?
I give this 4 stars. Um, Here's the thing, Sarah J. Maas is writing the best books in romantasy. Like, it is
Yeah,
what it is,
period.
you know?
Yeah.
Um, it's a good book. Uh, the ending, like, she's a maniac. It's crazy. I love the ending of this book, like, the series of events, the Micah of it all, the bombs, the draw. I love the ending of this book, sans Lahaba dying. But I'm a traditionalist in my fantasy. Like, I want them wearing gowns. Maybe there's running
Oh, you
water.
really didn't like that.
I do like it. I like
Maybe there's running water.
I like
Oh my god.
I like them being able to communicate. Like, the texting is big
Huge.
for this, which is why I like ACOTAR, like Reese can speak, like, mind to mind. But other than that, like, I don't know, like, this is my least favorite Sarah J. Maas series, and that's not saying, like, a lot because I do like the series. I don't know, it's just it's not her best. I fucking hate Hunt, and, like, if I hate the male main character, this is not a five-star book,
Right.
you know what I
I
mean?
agree.
So, yeah, like you said about the trying to figure out the case, like, I can't keep up. Um, the shit with the houses and, like, the political system, does it matter? I just, like, have a lot of questions that I feel like are not getting answered, but
In
not
800 pages.
in 800
Like,
pages, and also, like, don't feel like they do it doesn't feel like it does matter or is going to come into play in any sort, like, it just feels like she built this big world and you
which
don't.
you have to we have to remember we're on the first book.
Yeah,
But there were parts of it that could have been built up when they became relevant.
that's the thing. That's how I feel like you let people figure stuff out when you bring it up at that point in time. She's just, like, throwing shit out there and is like, "Good luck." So, yeah, I gave it 4 stars. For spice, I gave it 1, for quantity purposes.
Yeah.
I felt like it was good, but I don't have anything else to say in that regard. What was your rating?
I also gave it 4 stars. This is so funny that we've just been, like, literally talking shit the whole time, but it deserves 4 stars.
Mhm.
I have read books that were so much fucking worse than this,
Totally.
like, way, 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 way worse.
Mhm.
I just would never podcast about them,
Right.
so that's the difference there. Besides
Right.
that one, what was that one that we
Oh my
read?
god.
We don't even know. Um, so I agree. A little lengthy for my taste. The second time around, it was much better. I also think that I gave myself enough time to read it a second time,
Mhm.
like, between, so that I would forget everything.
Yeah.
Because I don't like rereading whenever I remember almost everything.
Right.
So, that was good. Um, spice, you gave us blue balls twice. So, for that reason, -2 chilies. Like, why would you do that? Like, we got one scene, and only Bryce is the one.
And it's interrupted.
Interrupted in a very, very bad way, like, had to call 911.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, fuck off for that reason. Um, and then there was another scene at the end, like, where we get blue balls
Yeah.
again, and it's
Yeah.
like, "Well, just gonna have to wait." Like, does it? Like, you don't have 5
Right.
minutes? Be real.
I agree.
Anyway, yeah, I think they discussed and thought about sex a lot,
Yeah.
almost too much.
Mhm.
It was just, I don't know,
Mhm.
like, it did give rom-com,
Yeah.
the amount they thought about sex, and it just, like, didn't happen enough.
Yeah.
It's such a weird dynamic.
I agree, and, with Akatar, there's, not spice in the first
No.
book, but I was fine with that, and I think it is, a they weren't talking about it all the time, Feyre wasn't just,
Yeah,
pining for
talking
him.
about it makes it weird when it doesn't
Ye
happen.
100%, and, again, 800 pages?
Babe, dry as a goddamn bone.
Mhm.
And this is like, I'm having to, like, you have to put yourself in my shoes. I'm reading this at 4 AM, okay? When I have a breast pump attached to me. Okay, my baby just woke up in the middle of the night screaming. I deserve something for
You
that.
do. You do, and I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't remember the next book, how frequent.
I don't think it was a lot. I really don't. But the thing is, why are we talking about it so much for it to happen so little?
Totally. Totally.
It's really weird.
The thing is that I don't give a fuck if Bryce and Hunt have sex. I where Give me Rune.
Rue needs to fuck someone soon, and it needs to be somebody hot.
And you know who else? Therian.
I would kill. I would kill. I don't even know who I would pair him with, probably somebody we haven't met.
Yeah.
But, like, amazing point. Amazing point.
Yeah, so let's
Wait, I wanna add one other thing to our, like, meters.
okay.
Fucking corn dogs. This is getting 4 out of 5 corn dogs for
Agree.
me. Probably only cornier thing I've ever read was, like, maybe, like, a Christmas-themed rom-com. And that you go into it knowing it's gonna be
Yeah,
corny.
you know what you're signing up for. This, the only thing that could have been worse is if she used modern day slang, like what we say day to day.
Okay, right.
You're right. I'm sorry, it was corny. I hate the calling each other by the last name. Bryce rocks my socks. The selfies, it's too much.
I forgot about the taking all the pictures and stuff. That's a lot.
It's a lot. No one does that. Unless you are a pick me girl and you're dating this guy.
And Bryce was just like, she doesn't need to be pick me. She's just the shit. Like, she can just be the
Yes,
shit. Doesn't have to be pick me. It can just be, we all agree that this girl is sick.
agree.
But
Agree.
no. But no, instead she's wearing his sunball hat backwards.
Instead, you know what she's doing? She's sleeping in this t-shirt.
The amount of times her fucking underwear was referenced. I don't give a shit about her hot pink bra. Like, first of all, no one wears that. We're wearing Skims t-shirt bras. Okay, they're not sexy,
It's
and we don't leave them hanging around the house.
Mhm.
They're air drying. Okay, above the dryer.
100%.
Like, get a grip. Get a grip. It's because is SJM like in her 40s?
I don't know, probably. She's had a couple kids, so at least the 30s.
Mm,
It's giving
anyway,
it's giving millennial. M
yeah, yeah, chug.
It is. It is. So,
That's all I had to say.
anyway, love the book.
4 stars.
No, I think what it is that we have not been able to talk shit about a book in a long
I
time.
know. It's been a while
Now
because
it's our chance.
you what are we gonna say about A Court of Silver Flames?
Not one thing. So, yeah,
JM, welcome to it. Welcome to the club. This is how normal ass authors get roasted on here.
mhm,
So I'm sorry that you had to endure this. I'm sorry that SJM fans everywhere had to endure this, but we hope that you share our sentiment. If not
totally,
Katie's and mine.
totally. The thing is, I remember I liked the second book much more than I liked the first book.
I don't remember any of that. So I hope that
Right.
that's
I remember that point alone. Um, we'll say. And then, like, we have one more book, and then we're on to new.
brand new territory.
It's crazy. That being said, if you have anything you want us to read, please DM us. Let us know.
Yeah, I say that at the end of every episode, but this one's like so serious. We have 1 month.
Yeah.
We need you guys to come up with something good for us to read and review. Katie may have already read some things that people
Mhm.
want us to review, and that would be really easy to just like,
Yeah.
rehash something for her and then something new for me.
Yeah.
Maybe not something that's 800 pages. That would be really nice.
I can think of a good one, but anyway, please let us know what you want us to read. By the way, we are wearing socks with no shoes
So yeah, Katie's new house. We're not doing shoes. We're being clean.
out for 2024. Shoes
Shoes in the
inside.
house,
Mm-hmm.
100%. And as soon as my little girl starts crawling, you can leave them outside the front door.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we're not doing that.
Yes. So anyway, enjoy our socks. Okay, so our next book is going to be House of Sky and Breath by Sarah J. Maas. Should be no surprise. And very much looking forward to it.
I will say I'm 100 and something pages in, and it's actually it like picks up really good in a good spot. So
Good.
that's good.
Okay, great. I'm really excited about it. Of course, I'll start it probably 2 weeks before we record the next one. Oh, you know what? We have 5 weeks between episodes this time.
Oh, nice.
So that yeah,
But
that's
even though
nothing.
we wasted the whole week?
Start from like now, yeah,
Okay.
I think.
Okay.
But I mean, you already started, so like you just had like the extra week. So yeah, hopefully that'll be a little bit easier. Do you know how many pages the next one is?
I can look on my Kindle. Let's see.
Oh, I guess I could do the same. Oh, 801 is what I've got. So, oh, it just says I finished the book again. Okay, so we'll buckle up
Buckle in, yeah, for
and
sure.
yeah, all right. Do you have anything else that you wanted to say?
No, that's it. Thank you guys so much for tuning into the club, the book club podcast that hopefully won't put you to sleep unless you have listened to this one right after our wrap up, to which if you're nodding off, that's not your fault. We are so excited to finally be back on video. Hopefully we can keep this going now that Katie has her new nice lush house with her little cozy um fireplace. You need to watch on YouTube because the socks, like, you have to see
Right,
these.
right.
Um, but seriously, thank you guys so much for tuning in. And if y'all have any recommendations for what y'all want us to read in March or for the March book, and honestly, the rest of 2024,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
nothing big has been announced yet for this
Mm-mm.
year. So if you have any recommendations or ideas, please send us a DM. They're always open. We also take emails to theclubgirlies@gmail.com.
Mhm.
And you probably already follow us on Instagram, but it's girlies at girlies of the club.
Yes, that is correct.
That's all I have. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We will see y'all next month. Bye.
Bye.